Giving you an update on the Juggernaut enclosure here. You can see, got this all taped off. I tape off everything that I'm cutting because, just from my experience, rather than just drawing a line, I get a much more accurate cut that way, because I do cut every single thing by hand. This whole box was cut with a skill saw. Anyways, so I've got the ports in and mounted. It's kind of dark, sorry. So we've got a 36 hertz tune going on here. I'm ready to cut the mounting for the sub, and then these ports, the remaining vents out of the baffle here, and then I'm going to actually be flaring this. Now, what I've done here, you see there's a port on each side. This one's finishing up curing and drying, but what I've done here is made two ports. Reason being, the amount of airspace that I had here to do this, after driver displacement, I am sitting straight at 4.75 cubic feet internally in this area, excluding the ports. So that's exactly what I'm going for. And then the reason I've done two ports instead of one port to get the proper velocity that I need, the vent Mach that I always shoot for, which is a trick that I've learned to make my enclosures sound so good when I build them. A single port was going to make the port velocity way too high. If I were to do it, like, for example, this is 1.5 inches by 18.5 times 2. When you do two of them, you will cut the vent Mach in half from just doing one that was simply 3 inches by 18.5. Like I said, it's kind of a trick that I learned a while back. Basically, if I did one that was 18.5 by 3, which technically would be the same port area as these two right here, what would happen is the port velocity would be very high, so it would be at a 0.08. Now, when you divide it into two and run two ports, it actually cuts the velocity in half, because now there's two exits on the box. So basically, I got to my 0.04 by dividing it into two. And then that, like I said, gives me my perfect internal airspace. To get to the 0.04 with a single port was going to end up being, the way I looked at it, I was going to have to do a port that was the entire length of the box, so it was going to be 44.5 inches by 2.5 inches was what it was going to take to get the 0.04 port velocity. So now we're talking 2.5 inches, then go down, then up 2.5 inches, and it needed to be 33 inches long. So I had 10 inches here, and then we got 20 here, and it was actually going to have to curve up the back of the box, which isn't that big of an issue if I had more room to work with. But the problem is this box is max outer dimensions that can go into this trunk. So, like I said, I've got to work my way around it. I have used this cutting in half of the port velocity method on a 10-inch sub, and it was just a 500-watt MTX sub back in the day in my friend's car, and the results were actually phenomenal. I mean, because we had only so much room because his car had hydraulics, so I had to figure out how to get a very small box and then get the proper port velocity so that the sub would run and operate to my expectations. And it worked out awesome. No one ever believed that he just had a 10 back there on a couple hundred watts. So anyways, I'm using that method onto this Juggernaut 15. That speaker should be here probably tomorrow. Speaker will be here either tomorrow or on Friday. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll have an unboxing of a brand new Matt's Juggernaut 15. And again, this box is close to being done. I am going to run some small carriage bolts through the port walls here, you know, from the outside, and then they'll be bolted here just to make this even more rigid. And then we are going to do some, I am going to be doing some internal bracing so that all the walls are connected together and we don't have any vibration. So anyways, stay tuned. It's going to be loud and it's going to sound excellent while doing it.